Are you recording there, Mr. Kim?
Yes, sir.
Okay, alright, perfect. So, hello everyone. Today is June 25th, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
It is exactly 8:58 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
It's our fourth episode now, right? Our fourth episode.
Yes, the fourth.
4 consecutive episodes. Alright, okay, I see. Alright. So I guess we have been keeping up with our original goal and our promise.
Yeah.
Which is a bit surprising to me if I've got to be 100% honest.
Why so?
Because it was like we're graduating this week and all these things are happening at once. I didn't think we would actually. I'm not saying that I didn't have any confidence that we were gonna achieve it, but I'm glad that it's going through.
Well, don't jinx it, man.
Yeah.
Don't jinx it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, we just got a couple. We got 3 days left. We're over halfway there, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's kind of sad. It's a bit. Because by the time we finish this series, we're gonna be fully graduated. We're gonna be done. So,
Yeah.
the end of this series is also gonna mark the end of a 13-year span of just going to school and doing that. Yeah, that's crazy to
Well,
think about.
you're still gonna go to school next year, right?
Yeah.
So this just marks the end of our high school experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. No, hopefully, I didn't jinx it, and we'll stick with our routine. But let's just get straight into it, man. What's up? What have you been doing the past 24 hours since our last episode?
Nothing. I just slept and woke up, and now I'm here. That's 24 hours.
Wait, hold on. Didn't you go work out in the morning with Haji?
Nah, he had to look after his brother.
Oh shit!
He's probably going tomorrow.
All right. Where are you guys gonna go, by the way?
Fitness 2000.
You have to pay for it.
I'm pretty sure you do.
You just
Think
pay
so.
every time you go, or is it a membership?
I'm not too sure. I've never been there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully, maybe sometime in the future, we could have a trio workout buddy thing going on.
Maybe. If we even commit. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I haven't gone to the gym in ages.
Well, it hasn't even been open for that long.
Yeah. Because I had a Good Life Fitness membership, like even before the pandemic, but
You didn't go?
I didn't go. I only went maybe near the end, like as the pandemic was getting more and more serious. I was only going about once a week, probably, at best, and I just ended up not going at all, of course, afterwards. But hey, I mean, if Hodge is involved, then hell yeah, man. Like, why not? Let's do it.
Alright. Did you even go work out before pandemic started?
Yeah, occasionally. And also just like, I don't know, subdued stuff, like walking, jogging sometimes. I don't think I went out of my way to like exercise, like supersets, stuff like that, like weights. I didn't do that kind of stuff as much.
But, oh, okay. So you didn't go to the gym that often? You just did mostly
Well, like
at-home workouts?
when I went to the gym, I I would take turns going on the treadmill and going, you know, those machines, right, that they have there.
They have a lot of machines.
No.
Which one?
No, like all gosh, I forgot the name of it, but the machines where you just kind of sit down and it works out a specific muscle in your body.
What?
What? Where do you, bro? We have them at the school.
So the workout machines.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll just take turns between those and the treadmill.
Oh.
I honestly didn't even know too well what exactly I was doing. I didn't know if I was doing it correctly or not.
You do reps and sets?
Yeah. I mean, I try to keep count. I try to keep track. But hopefully this time we can take it more seriously. I actually saw E-Man there a couple of times.
Well, Manuel's jacked as fuck. Right?
I mean, that explains it, you know what I'm saying?
Man has commitment.
Yeah, for sure.
Good for him.
So that's it? You just kind of, you slept, you woke up, came here?
Yep, that's it.
Alright.
Yeah. What'd you do?
Last 24 hours, oh, yesterday? Oh, no, we chilled until, like, what? 10 p.m. or something? Yesterday?
About 12 or something.
Oh, yeah, 12, yeah. And, yeah, I just went to sleep afterwards. I didn't edit the episodes, I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna fall asleep. Woke up this morning and... Oh, right, yeah. Because I was planning on giving all my teachers cards and gifts. Because this is sort of our last stretch at school, and I figured I'd give them a little something for all they've done. So I was like, yeah, alright, might as well. I went to the school and started dropping off all the gifts. Oh, right, yeah, something crazy happened actually. So I was just going around dropping off what I had in the bag. I eventually went to Mr. Zazari, and I mentioned him in the first episode, I think, actually. But Mr. Zazari, he's been there basically by my side, wisdom-wise, you know, like just every time I had something on my mind, I just go up to him and we talk, and that's kind of the way we've been interacting like the past 3 years. I had him for 3 years straight, and it's just, he's an awesome guy. I can't even express how grateful I had him as a teacher all this time, and he's been a big influence on me. And when I went there, I was aware that he had a record player on him, so I got him a Beatle record. It's an original 1963 copy as well. It's with the Beatles. Just all of a sudden, I don't know what it was, I started crying. I just burst into tears. I don't know what it was. Just right there, bro. Like the classroom, it's just no one else is there. It's just me and him. And I just, if I gotta be honest, I'm not that much of an emotional guy. You know, I'm a pretty analytical, I don't know, thinker, if you will, and I'm not really. I don't have the tendency to get emotional that easily. In fact, I probably haven't cried in like a year.
Couple
minimum.
months.
Yeah.
Your birthday,
oh no!
your birthday,
Yeah, I'm my birthday. Okay, yeah, I forgot about that. But it's extremely rare. But this was such an overwhelming situation to the point where I just burst out into tears, man. Oh, God, it's making me emotional thinking back on it right now. But to have a teacher that cares for you, also is generous enough to share his wisdom and help me out along every step of the way for 3 years, how much more selfless can you get, you know? I think it's sort of built up over time, like how much that really meant to me, and it just kind of came out all at once. Yeah. Dude, like I was just teary-eyed all the way home, even in the car. Like I had to wait a bit in my car when I got home. It was just so overwhelming.
Damn. Yeah. What was overwhelming?
I don't know, just everything. The fact that we're graduating, and the fact that we're never going to be high schoolers ever again. On top of that, the fact that I was privileged enough to have had such an intelligent, wise, generous, caring, understanding, passionate person as my teacher for 3 years no less. I can't help but feel how lucky I was for that. Even if we go back to the school, we're not going to be students anymore. We're not a part of it. We're basically civilians at that point. It's a feeling and it's a transition that I don't know. It's just overwhelming to me.
Well, you feel better after crying, getting it off your chest? Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. The crying, it was all these suppressed emotions for probably years actually even, that just came out all at once.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
No, honestly, dude, like, I was embarrassed.
Well, did he make a big deal out of it?
No. He was just like, dude, it's okay. It's okay to be emotional.
Yeah,
'Cause-
nothing to be embarrassed about.
Yeah, I was trying so hard not to cry. I was using every fiber in my body to hold back the tears. But it just came out anyway. I didn't want to make this interaction, I don't know. I kind of saw it as shit. No, I don't want to burden him. Student just slobbering all over his out. But he was but he was cool with it. He was just like, dude, it's a lot of things have been building up, especially as a high school, so as a senior graduating. It's emotionally heavy just on its own, but the fact that you had to go through the COVID situation and on all these situations, all these events occurring in the world, but at the same time going through the process and transition of graduating.
Yeah, man.
Have you had any emotional response to this in any shape or form, or just complete lack thereof?
Mostly lack thereof.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not really attached to high school all that much.
Right.
Because we're bound to graduate and leave it eventually, so it's just a natural part of growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really find that much emotional attachment, let's say, to school, because I'm going to go to university next year. I'm gonna go there for another 4 years. I'm gonna graduate, gonna leave that, find a job, and just live the rest of my life. So high school is just a small part of what is to come. So I don't really see it as a big deal, graduating and all that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, but crazy.
Yep. I'm definitely going to be visiting all my teachers next year regularly. As often as I can.
Yeah.
Like maybe during just like every lunch hour, just go to their rooms.
Why the fuck are you here again? I had to deal with you in high school, now I have to deal with you now. Don't get out of my face.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
wouldn't blame them. I would not blame them one iota.
Well, yeah.
Do you have a favorite teacher?
Nope.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you have any teacher that you became emotionally invested towards?
Nope.
Oh.
Teachers are teachers, man. And I'm a student. We each have our separate jobs. And I just prefer to keep it that way.
Oh, shoot. I
Yeah,
see.
because if I get emotionally attached, we're gonna have to part ways anyway, right? So there's no point.
I see it the other way around. I mean, obviously teachers have authority and they're in a position where they're above students, that there's no question about that. But relationship wise, I kind of saw it as an equal stature, if you know what I mean. Authority and respect wise, it's always above mine, but relationship wise, maybe that can come down a notch or two, and we can form some sort of emotional, I guess, attachment to some degree or another, and get to know each other just as humans and not as a teacher and a student, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I think, you know what, that's probably why I just became so emotional, is because I saw my teachers as friends and buddies.
Yeah.
But it's painful, man. Like, saying goodbye, it's so painful.
It is. It's just a part of human nature. Something that we had since we were like Neanderthals and shit. Had to socialize properly, otherwise we'd all be wiped out.
Yeah,
It's part of it, man.
sure.
Do you believe in evolution?
Evolution?
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually a really good question. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I believe in I believe in evolution for sure. I believe in Darwinism. The thing that I'm not 100% set on, however, is how exactly the theories involved and how exactly everything started. Like, you know how you mentioned the Big Bang Theory last time?
Yeah.
So, I'm not 100% set on an opinion in terms of how everything started, but as far as nature goes and the evolution aspect of the species, yeah, I have a very firm belief in natural selection and the, you know, like the basic simplistic hunter gatherer. I have a firm belief in it for sure.
So you believe in the process of an organism. So the theory is that a small organism slowly evolved into multicellular ones,
Mm-hmm.
and then they came out of the water and became the animals that we have today. So do you believe in that specifically?
No, no, not that.
Why don't you believe in that, but you believe in natural selection and evolution?
I don't. Well, it's not that I don't believe it. It's just I'm not 100% sure myself.
So how do you think do we evolve? Where at what origin do you think we evolved from? For you personally,
Oh, wow.
do you think we just popped out of the ground as fully fledged monkeys and shit?
No, that's see that's the thing. Like I'm not sure at all. Like I haven't formulated a fixed opinion on that yet because I'm just not sure. Because there's also the idea behind creation, right? There are some tangible scientific evidence that creation may have not been possible.
Man, there's a shit ton of fossils from dating millions of years back of how different animals have developed.
Mm-hmm. If I have to be honest, I'm actually a bit skeptical of carbon dating.
So like fossilization and stuff.
The process of trying to figure out how old something is by like carbon dating it, I'm personally skeptical. Because
Can you explain what carbon dating is to me? I'm not too sure about what it.
the way carbon dating works is you search for specific properties of the material, in this case radiocarbon, that's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think, determines how old the object is based on how much of it exists on the object or the type.
Oh yeah.
I think that's generally speaking how it works. It's looking at the properties and seeing what's there and trying to figure out whether that could have been developed over this certain period of time. Like, oh, okay, so this specific property requires millions of years to develop. Then that's the theory, is that, okay, so it must have been millions of years old simply because it should have taken that long for it to actually exist.
Yeah.
So I guess that's how carbon. And I'm because you know how when scientists discover a fossil or an object and they say, "Oh yeah, no, this is millions of years old." You can't say that for certain. In my opinion, there's so many variables to the point where it's a very plausible theory, but in my opinion, it's not certain. You're not 100% set on the fact that it is in fact over 1 million years old. Because there's just, in my opinion, way too many variables. Or I don't think you can definitively say that this object is this old.
Well, it's an estimation based off of existing facts.
Yeah.
So they're taking specimens of the same kind from all around the world, looking at them, and they sometimes share a similar timeline. So from that, it can be determined that they existed around the same time, and since all of them have the same kind of whatever carbon dating stuff, it can be determined that they existed, say, millions of years ago. So although it isn't perfectly like. It is, although it isn't 100%, and we don't know exactly what time it is. It's like, how do I say this? It can be, from the facts presented, it can be almost 100% certain that they existed back then, millions of years ago. Right? So even though, like you said, it may not be 100%, who knows? We weren't there back then.
Yeah, no, no. I mean, for all we know,
it's the most
plausible answer. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I guess where I was getting at was like, it's just, I always second guess when people say that this is a million years old. I don't reach the conclusion that, okay, it is in fact a million years old, because at the end of the day, it's still technically a theory.
But, okay, once you say that, then what?
Oh,
so it's like, what's the point of saying, oh, how do I know it's a million years old? Because that's not a question worth asking, because science proves that it's most likely a million years old. And even if it's not, then it's like so, it's so fundamentally like, it's like proven that it is a million years old. What am I even saying?
No.
No, it's like asking a pointless question, you know?
Just to reiterate, what you're saying is, it's because it's the most plausible explanation, and because it's the most logical and the most likely to be true. Therefore, it's unnecessary to simply deny it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah, no, I'm not denying it. I'm not denying that it's not like true. If anything, like, for all we know, it is 100% accurate every time. It's just a matter of skepticism. Like, that's just kind of who I am. Like,
So you're skeptical of everything?
Well, not everything. Not everything.
Then what are you skeptical of?
What am I skeptical of? That's a big question. Out of everything?
Pretty much. So.
Well,
what do you not question, right? So do you question math?
Well, okay, this is the best way I could define it. So, my version of skepticism is I think it's just a matter of constantly second guessing and double checking. For example, wait, how do I put this? I never tend to receive information and accept it right away, if you get the gist. I always had the tendency to receive it and have it passively float there, right? And then over time, gain a perspective of my own, and then eventually reach a conclusion. So I guess the only way I could describe it is, my version of skepticism is simply not taking information and believing it and encapsulating it right away. Having that ability to receive it and listen to it, give all ears to it, process it, but at the same time not fully hone in on it yet. Take the time to analyze it personally, reach a conclusion on my own terms.
On your own terms.
Yeah.
So even if something is widely scientifically proven, if it doesn't fit on your own terms, you still won't believe it.
And that analytical process, right, where I reach a conclusion on my own terms, the fact that something's scientifically proven, that's a big component. If something's objectively factual, then there's no question why I wouldn't believe it.
Then isn't this carbon dating, since it's objectively factual, it's because there's so many, it's technically scientifically proven, why do you still not believe it?
I never said I deny the fact that things are... I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that at the end of the day, there are many aspects to carbon dating that are still semi-theoretical. So because of that, I don't listen to it at face value. So something's, let's say, 1 million years old, right? or some like on a textbook it says this is 1,000,000 years old. I received the information, but I still also had the thought at the back of my mind that it may potentially not be true. It's very likely, scientifically speaking, it's extremely likely that it is, but at the end of the day, there still are those variables. There still is that essence of perhaps it could also not be true. It's just a matter of not fully believing it, but at the same time recognizing that it could potentially be 100% objective and factual. If something's theoretical, the definition of it is that it's something that could be proven wrong.
No,
So
a theory is what is widely accepted by the scientific community as fact. A hypothesis is a assumption that scientists have made. At least that's what I believe. That's why they call it the Big Bang Theory, because it is so. It's nearly no one can really refute it, right? And everybody in the scientific community acknowledges that it is probably the most likely occurrence
well, like
or event that happened.
not everyone. The Big Bang Theory isn't the only. There's so many other non-religious scientific theories as to how the Earth came about. Like the Big Bang Theory is the most famous. I'll give you that, and it's up there in terms of how many scientists actually agree upon the fact that that's in fact how everything started. But it's definitely not the only one. When you say everyone agrees on the fact that the Big Bang Theory, I disagree with that. I think the Big Bang Theory is very famous. It's a very famous theory and it's widely accepted, but not everyone believes in it. There's probably millions of other theories out there. And that's exactly what I'm talking about here. You have a theory, it's widely accepted, it's a popular theory. It's just there's also, in my opinion, there also has to be a sense of skepticism in terms of that may potentially not be true. Carbon dating is something that is widely accepted upon the scientific community as being 100% factual, but then again, widely as in not every single human being. And at the end of the day, in my opinion, there are aspects to it that are still theoretical. Not saying that I don't believe in it or I just completely refute the fact that it's not possible. It's just having that mindset of being skeptical and not believing in everything at face value.
So do you believe that flat earthers are actually intelligent people? Because they're skeptical. They're skeptical of the earth being round. That is technically a theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you trying to... Why are you skeptical in the first place? Why are you questioning things that don't really need to be questioned in the first place?
Why am I questioning things that don't really need to be questioned in the first place?
So what do you gain from looking at a textbook that says this thing's 1,000,000 years old, and then you're like, oh, that might not be 1,000,000 years? What do you gain from that?
One of my biggest mantras, one of my biggest goals is the search for the truth. And that's such an umbrella term. It covers so many different areas in life. But it's just it's the idea behind searching for the truth constantly and trying to grasp reality and accept it. Also questioning things, right? Questioning ideas, questioning beliefs. It's an extremely healthy practice because it keeps the brain active. It keeps the brain active. It allows you to form an identity of yourself as far as what your stance is on particular topics or situations. It maintains that fluidity. It maintains structure in your brain as far as like what your personality is, like what your view of yourself is, what your stance is on this particular topic or issue. I found it to be a very healthy practice to question things and not accept everything the moment it comes to your ear. It's the best way to gain as much wisdom as possible. The ultimate search for the truth.
Okay, I agree with you that people should question things, but what I'm asking is why question things that don't need to be questioned in the first place? It's like asking why is this blue, right? It's so widely, it's like
there's a difference between questioning and there's a difference between just simply having a thought that tells you, oh well, I mean, okay, so there are some aspects of carbon dating that's still theoretical. So maybe, like, who knows? For all we know, maybe it's not accurate. Maybe it's not 100% accurate. And just having that thought at the back of my mind, it's not something that I'm taking out of proportion and calling out in the scientific community going, no, carbon dating is fake. It's not. No, it's none of that. It's just having that habitual thinking of there could be the chance that it's not 100% accurate because it's not entirely factual. In fact, most of the time when you see textbooks, most of the time they don't even say like this is in fact 1,000,000 years old. 90% of the time it actually says approximately, or sometimes it might even say like theoretically it could be this old. So that in and of itself is just a reminder to you that okay, it might not be 100% accurate. That's it. That's all there is to it.
Questioning fact is healthy. Getting your mind caught up over the things like, why is this black or is it actually dark blue? Or just questioning things like that is healthy. Is that what you're saying?
So there's different levels of questioning, obviously. When you're indulging yourself in a philosophical topic with the philosophy community, is there a God? Or there's so much to work with. It's basically all it is questioning, right? And you go really deep into it. But all I'm saying right now is a level of questioning that's so mundane and so minuscule to the point where it's just having that subliminal mindset at the back of your mind. In some degree or another, you should be constantly questioning things, and that could potentially mean everything for some people. But when it comes to factual things, it just really depends on how much investment you put into a particular issue or topic as far as questioning goes. So, for example, the Earth being round. You think about it for a second, like, okay, so the Earth, you like maybe search it up on Google, and you go, okay, yeah, so here are the definitive scientific facts that the Earth is in fact round. Okay, all right, that's it. That's all I needed, and moving on.
Okay.
I always encourage the mindset of not constantly like questioning things and just burning out your brain. Having that idea at the back of your mind of not accepting everything just at face value right away and taking the time to perhaps evaluate it yourself as an individual and not as a group. Because things being widely accepted is an extremely important value. It means that it's a very popular opinion. However, it's also good to develop your own and see what your stance is on it.
So you're saying that you should develop your own opinion on things, right?
I'm not saying you should make up your own opinion on everything and just constantly do it. No, like everything is very context heavy.
So you should leave. So are you saying you should leave objective things alone while you should question subjective ones?
I don't view those kind of issues that yes or no or this and that. I view it in a gray sort of way. At least in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Now let's roll it all the way back. Evolution, right? So do you believe? So you're saying you believe in it, right?
In evolution.
Evolution.
Darwinism, yeah, for sure.
So explain Darwinism.
It's the concept behind species evolving over time due to variables such as natural selection. Species evolving into other branches of species. That idea behind survival of the fittest and how it influences the biology of particular species in a particular environment. A very good example that I've always honed in on. So this goes back to the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century in England. Near the factories where all that soot and all that coal was being burnt, there was a big forest with a very widely varied butterfly species.
It was a moth.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was moths. Yeah. And all like originally all the moths there were white, but because the forest was so dampened and covered with soot, eventually all the white moths were being eaten as very easily because of the fact that they were being seen, and the camouflage was taken away from them. So over time, you started noticing that the moths became more and more dark color wise, because of the
Can I stop you real quick?
Yeah.
I think that the moths originally were in two different colors, dark and white.
Yeah.
And then just the white ones died out.
The white ones were they were like, the quantity wise, there were much more of them. There were black ones, but there was way less of them because they would often get eaten.
Mm-hmm.
Just as a ratio, there might have been like, for every 10 white moths, there might have been only one black moth. And the black moth may have simply been a mutation. I think that's also part of the concept, that there's mutations in the DNA that provides a certain feature in a particular species, and that feature may end up helping that species, and it ends up sticking. In this case, the black color was a mutation when the soot covered the forest and ended up helping out those particular moths that had the mutation, and then that mutation simply carried over into the rest of the species, and eventually it became the other way around. 10 black moths, 1 white moth.
Was it a mutation or was it just a subspecies?
It wasn't a subspecies. It was the exact
Because
same
a
species.
mutation is something, if an abnormality happens in a gene, and it occasionally it's either beneficial or not.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're saying, so were the black moths like, just. So what? So the black moths. So you believe in that kind of evolution?
Yeah. And I also believe that it still inherently exists in humans to this day.
Well, yeah. There's some people that don't have this tendon little shit on their wrist,
Mm-hmm.
and some people can wiggle their ears while some can't.
On a neurological level. Because, for example, like that flight or fight response that us humans have, that came from the hunter-gatherer era.
It just
Where-
exists in all animals.
Basically, yeah. And I feel like that's an extremely big pointer and a very tangible evidence that we, in fact, as a species, did go through a period where that particular trait, having a flight or fight response for situations, was extremely beneficial. So we can definitively say that we did go through a time period where those traits were needed and required to survive.
I mean, look at the vestigial organs and stuff. Look at our appendix. We don't need that. We don't need that anymore.
Exactly.
So it's shrunk over time.
Yeah.
And we have other vestigial organs, useless organs that we have. I don't really recall. I don't recall what they were, but is vestigial the correct term? I'm pretty sure it is. Whatever.
So it's very mind-blowing to think about. Like, all the emotions, I guess, negative aspects of what we go through just as humans. Like, for example, particular responses to situations like anxiety, or that flight or fight response where your heart is starting to beat and you're feeling all these symptoms, many mental health issues. Those are all thanks to evolution. And in my opinion, that hunter-gatherer society. Oh, also loneliness. 90% of mental health issues or just negative emotions or negative, mental states that we as humans go through now, we don't really need those to live nowadays. But back then you needed that to remind you to, okay, so alright, you're feeling you're lonely when you're not part of the tribe, you're not socializing with the other guys over there, and because that, if you don't, then your brain tells you, it literally gives a signal to you that, okay, so listen, buddy, you gotta start socializing, because if you don't, then your chance of survival decrease insurmountably. So you need to go over there. You need to go to that group of monkeys. You guys start socializing. All these inherent traits that we see as negative now are thanks to where we first started off. I don't know, it's just something that stuck out to me. The fact that just picture a society where biologically we just restarted. Or not biologically, but I guess you could say neurologically. All that evolution in the past just washes away, but we're still human. Like, we're still biologically speaking a human, right? If all those hunter-gatherer traits like natural selection, survival of the fittest, you know, if all of that was taken away, what would we be like?
Well, like, what is taken away?
Like that inherent desire for survival. Like, for example, greed. Greed is it's a famous character trait. Because if you had greed, if you had the tendency to steal from other tribes, your chance of survival was great. But society-wise, they kind of cast you away. You yourself as an individual, you had a very good chance of survival because you had everything, you took everything for yourself and didn't share. But also at the same time, character traits such as generosity, sharing, those are also looked at with very positive lenses because it also contributed and helped out the hunter-gatherer tribe. Because if you shared, then other people recognize the fact that you shared and then they share back. And there's that cycle of camaraderie.
So you're wondering what'll happen if all that's taken away?
Yeah.
It'd just be vegetables, man.
Yeah, that's true. We wouldn't even be human.
It'd just be vegetables.
Yeah. That's so interesting to think about, actually.
Oh, yeah. It's been 50 minutes.
50. Oh my god! It feels like we've been talking for 5.
All right, I think that wraps it up then.
What, already?
Yes, sir.
Well, okay, let me ask you a question, just as a final thought. Do you believe in evolution?
Of course.
So you believe in natural selection and genes being passed along based on what species and what mutations and what abnormalities survive. You believe in all that?
Uh-huh.
All the way? Like, no question about it?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so you also believe in the Big Bang Theory, right?
Well,
like, you're set on it?
I'm not set on it. If someone presents a more plausible theory, it'd probably change my mind. Mm-hmm. But as of now, that's what I see as most likely thing that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you secretly wish that wasn't the right theory, though?
So do I wish that there's a creator?
Would you notice yourself being at least slightly disappointed that there wasn't a creator and that we'll probably die without a heaven or whatever?
No, I wouldn't be that surprised.
You wouldn't be disappointed?
Well, I'd be a little disappointed. I'd be like, oh, it's a bummer. But it's like, okay.
So you just accept right away the fact that, okay, so I guess, yeah. Alright, so if that's true, then I guess the likelihood of there being a god is really slim, so therefore I guess there's no heaven, and we'll just die and everything will be lights out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's what I mostly believe right now. So, if it's proven correct, then I think my beliefs are proven correct as well.
Mm.
So I wouldn't mind it too much.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Cool.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. To say it again, today is Thursday, June 25th, and I hope you enjoyed.
Likewise, we hope you found at least some solitude in the things we said.
Yep.
But definitely don't force it.
Yep.
Just take all the information in passively. And if you're listening to this just in the background, even better.
Yep. And just to say it again, we are not properly educated. We don't have a degree or anything in any of the subjects we've talked about. So if we are wrong, correct us, please. Without freaking the fuck out, right? Talk like a civilized human being. And we listen. Alright, thank you.
Okay. Take it easy, everyone.
Yep.